Hi, Joe here. I'm with my client, Stephen. Stephen, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
You're welcome. Thanks for your willingness to come on and share your experience working with me. So let's just jump into it. What brought you to working with me?
Good question. So, probably about 5 years ago, I was in between jobs. I'm in banking and risk management. And I felt that before looking for a new job, I wanted to understand some things about myself that I felt were some lessons learned from my 5 years at my previous employer. And I thought that engaging a professional coach would be something helpful. What I didn't realize was that originally I thought that this would be like a 3 to 6 month stint, and here we are, Joe, 5 years later. Okay. But no, in all seriousness, what brought me to you was to try to understand who I really was as an individual, and connect that to my as a professional, and to understand my style of leadership and management, and why was it not effective as much as I thought it would be. So I think those were probably some of the original goals. Now, obviously, those goals have evolved, because as you begin to strip away who you are as an individual, and to get to know yourself a little bit better, that's a journey in of itself.
Thank you.
Sure.
What are some of the results that you have gotten from our work together, and what has changed in your life?
I think I think that some of the results is, to pick up from what I was talking about before, is that in anything that you do as an individual, whatever goal you have, whether it's personal, professional, physical, and stuff like that, there's a starting point. So the starting point for Joe and I, when we first began, was to really understand who I was. And I had a lot of armor on, and it took Joe a while to break through that, to figure out, who am I dealing with as a client, and how can I really help this person. So I think for me, I think how Joe helped me was really self-identification, the ability to self-reflect, understand myself, and how I saw the world, but how I saw myself and how I felt about myself. So that way, that reflects on how you deal with people that are important in your life, whether it's your family, professional, your friendships, and stuff like that. So think of the words as far as grounded, being centered, and gratitude. And those are some things that probably I did not practice or were fully aware of before I met you.
Yeah, thank you. And you've had a couple of different career transitions since we started working together. Can you give any specific examples of progress you made in your career from our work?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the progress is the progress for me in professionally is to be able to work with different people in different situations, and understanding the adjustments that you have to make in those different scenarios, whether you're dealing with a managing director or a person who's a junior analyst. But in addition to that is the ability to connect with them as an individual versus as a task, or someone who just has to complete something. So that aligns to whether you're in a project, in a meeting, talking with a loved one. It's the understanding to personally connect with that person, to understand where they're coming from and what their needs are. So it's listening, communicating, understanding, and reflecting, and it just begins from within and being grounded. So I think those are some of the core things that I now possess, or at least I'm on a journey to possessing and to practicing more regularly. Now, that doesn't mean that I was a monster or anything like that when I first met Joe, but it means that he's created an environment and relationship with me that I feel pretty safe to really explore some of these things in a more deeper way to make myself a more rounded person.
Thank you, Stephen. And what advice would you give to a mid to senior level professional who may be at a crossroads in their career and they're thinking about like, what should I do next? How do you think coaching could help them?
I think we all face milestones or crossroads in our careers or in our personal relationships, and that's just life. But I think for people who are, pausing and saying, what do I need to do different, or how can I do things differently? I think, having a personal coach such as Joe, I think it can be a win-win for an individual if the individual is ready to do that, mentally and spiritually. If they think that it's a quick fix, like I thought, I can get a coach for 6 months, fix myself, and I'll be bulletproof and I'll be able to go my way. I don't know if that's realistic or not, but I would suggest that if an individual is considering this, that they be honest with themselves as far as what they really want to accomplish, and to be honest with themselves that it is going to be a journey, and that sometimes you may not like what you see, but if you understand where you want to go, then it's worth the investment.
Great. Thank you, Stephen, for your time.
Thank you, Joe.